All right, guys, so without wasting too much time, let's go back. So what we did on the last one is just that we set up this box, right? As you can see now, it's working. Now we're gonna set up the animation for our character. Now for the animation, I want to do something very clever. I want to use reusable animations, which is something that we haven't dived on the dev realm yet, but it's something that I've been exploring in my own games, which is something really, and it turns out to be really cool. Right, so let's just close everything. We don't need this information right now. We're going to go back here to the carry box animation. And as you're probably going to notice that we have all the animations all laid out nicely for you guys. So some of those animations I found on the web, some of the animations I created myself. But the point is that they are all ready to be used here on our blueprint, right? So the first thing we need to do is to create a way to reuse this animation. So I'm going to basically go back here on my animations carry here, and I'm going to create a new animation blueprint. So I'm going to go back to the animations, and here we're going to create a new animation blueprint. This is going to ask us which skeleton do we want to use. In this case, it's asking mannequin, which is fine. And I'm going to call this ABP, which stands for animation blueprint carry. All right. Now I'm going to open up the animation. And the very first thing I am going to do here, just so we have something nice on the page to display, is to display the animation, which is the very first state of our animation, as you can see here. Right, so if I go back here now to the event graph, what we can actually do here is create a state machine. So state machine. So let's add a new state machine, and it's going to go with this carry. And we're going to add this stuff right here. And don't worry if you never work with Unreal Engine animations. It's something very easy to do. Don't worry about this. So we're going to bring this here. And what we're going to do is, if you didn't notice, I just drag and drop the animation there. And I call this idle, because I know that this is the idle animation. So you can plug it here, and now look at the character, it goes back to idle. The reason why we did this is because we need to switch between walking, running, dropping, and all sorts of status that we need to implement right here. Right, so what we need to do here, basically this works like a normal class. It doesn't have any differences between from a normal blueprint to this one. The only difference is that you handle blueprints, you handle animations here, right? So what we're going to do is that on the animations, on the variables here, we need to create a couple of variables. So the first one is b-is picking up. So we want to trigger when the character wants to pick it up, the animation. Now the next one, make sure you always mark expose the spawn. I'm going to copy and paste, and I'm going to call this b-is dropping. So when the character stop, I'm going to drop another one, which is going to be called b-is carrying. And then I'm going to use another one to tell that when the character should move. And I'm going to explain you in a second why we need this. And then the next one is called ground speed, or you can just call speed if you want to make things simpler. Make sure this one is a float, okay? Because we need the speed of the character to proper interact with our animations. Now, I have the animation that when the character is, let me check, is this one? So it's ground, and this one is the negative one, right? Yeah, so let's use the is picking up. This one, drag and drop. Let's rename this to is, or let me just click outside and click it back, called pick up, all right? And now we're gonna do a transition and a transition back. Now the same thing for when you drop the item. Drop, I don't know why it doesn't allow me, but drop box. You can drop box, or you can just call drop, right? Same here, and one right there. And then we need another one, and this is going to be a little bit more, let's say, complicated, but we still can use it here, which is going to be a state called walk. And then inside the walk, what we are going to do here is something very simpler. We're going to right click, we're going to create a new animation blend space, and this is going to select our mannequin there, and I'm going to call this, let me just double check, I think we call this BS walk box or something simple. Something very simpler like that. Now, what we are going to do this is basically, if you have this open right up, on the horizontal axis, we are going to change this to call speed. And we need to set up the minimum axis and the max axis. So the minimum one is going to be 0 and the max is going to be 500. And basically what does that mean? Let me just give you guys some more space so I can show you exactly what I want to do here. What you're going to do is we are going to select first a couple of animations that we are going to drop on this. All right. And the first one that we are going to bring here is, I believe, let me check, is this one? This one. So we need to open up the walking, and let me just expand here because I need to drag and drop this somewhere. Now you see it shows up right there, the samples. So I'm just gonna bring this one on 0, and it's gonna be 0 as well. So everything, so speed 0, rate scale, and we don't need the vertical axis. Must be a way we can remove this, but we don't need the vertical axis on this case. We only need the x-axis, but anyway, just ignore that for now. We don't need to worry about it. Now the next one is the walk, right? So this is the one I was working, and then we have running. Okay, so we're gonna go back here too. We already have the walk, which is gonna be the, don't worry about that, and this is gonna be maybe 240, and then we're gonna add the last one, which is running, and is going to be also 0, and we're gonna put max 500. Now if I hold control, look at that, I can see when the character is carrying the box and walking. As you can see, the running animation is not the best. It's because I repurposed one of the other animations, but you guys can always replace this in the future. Now let's go back here and let's drag and drop that. Perfect. Remember, we don't care about the gnome. There must be a way we can remove this. Let me know in the comments if you guys found a way to remove that. But for these purposes, we'll be fine. Now, all you gotta do is just get a speed, drop right here. And now let's set up the triggers. So what we can actually trigger to, go to each and individual animation. This is what is going to basically control us and tell what we're going to play and what we are not going to play. Right, so the first one that we need is something super simple. It's picking up, and we plug it right here. Now you're probably wondering, how do we transition back to here, right? So all we got to do here is a couple of different rules. We need to first, we wait for the animation to stop playing. So what we're going to do is get time remaining or something. Get time remaining. No, get time remaining fraction. I think that's the one. Yeah. And we're going to do something like, is this less or equal? And then we need to check more or less the size of the animation. 1.8 or something like that. We can always change those values. And what you can actually do here to make sure we're doing properly is just we do this. You see? So it's kind of working exactly how we want. Now, we need to do the same for when we are transitioning right here. Let me just double check. We did right. Here, we just do the same. If it's dropping, you play the animation. And then we're going to do the get time remain. I have to say, otherwise I don't remember the name of it. And on this one, I think it's the same, less or equal than 0.1. It turns out that sometimes 0.1 is always the magic number when you're trying to play with those animations. Now, we can also test when it's dropping. You see? Dropping the animation. Now, basically, we have all the references added, which is perfect. Now, all we're going to do here is that we need to set up when it's moving, which is, we also need to do when it's not moving. But this one is very easy, very easy. we just get this and we do basically should move, right? Because it's all we are actually going to do. And if it's not moving, just get this, not boolean, and you plug the value right there. Perfect. Now, if I set up my speed to, let's say, 400, and I add the should move to true, look at that. It stops moving. And now I can actually control the speed of the character, which is really cool. So this is a really nice tip for when you guys are doing blending. And as you guys could see, it's so easy to add those animations. It's unbelievable. Unreal will make it so easy to work with this. But anyway, now in the next episode, we're going to actually do the implementation. I hope you guys have enjoyed this quick tutorial, and I see you then.